This is the last part of my 417 Best of Men and 418 In Sickness and in Health episode review for 911 Lone Star. We are ending it on a high note and talking about the wedding, so let's get started.
When I first met you, you looked at me as if you knew something about me that I didn't know about myself. You saw me for the man I hadn't yet become, and you lit the path for me to get there. I spent so long feeling like I didn't deserve happiness or even a future. Like maybe I was too broken. But you changed that. And whenever I see you, and whenever I'm with you, I feel whole. And I vow, Carlos Reyes, to take care and nurture your heart for the rest of my life as if it was my very own.
So I must admit, these vows were some of the best written vows I have ever seen on TV. They were beautifully written, but they also fit the characters so well and their journey that it's taken to get to where they are today. TK's vows really brought me back to season 1 TK. The TK we first met in episode 1 that had a failed marriage proposal and relapsed and overdosed. He was then brought to Texas where he meets Carlos. And Carlos really did take one look at him and realize that TK was the one he was meant to be with when he asked TK to dance with him. TK may have ran out on Carlos multiple times, but he always found his way back to Carlos because at the end of the day, the only time TK ever really feels truly whole is when he is with Carlos.
You're the dream I would not allow myself to have. I have lived my life in so much fear. Closed off, shut down in ways I didn't realize. You are the key that unlocked me. The fact that I'm standing here with you today, before God, my family, everyone, is nothing short of a miracle. You're a miracle, TK Strand. My miracle. And the greatest adventure of my life. And no matter where the journey takes us, I vow to be by your side. I vow to be the caretaker of your wild heart.
Now, when I say TK's vows were beautiful, well, Carlos's vows had me on the floor. Carlos never seemed to be one with his words. But this season, you really saw him open up and express his feelings. And you see him do that again with his vows. His vows that he shared in front of all his friends and family. This truly was a dream for him. A young 17-year-old Carlos never would have dreamt he could have married the love of his life. That's why he married Iris. Now he's able to do that because of TK, because TK is his miracle. TK once told Carlos that nothing stays the same, and it's true. Because of TK, he was able to amend a relationship with his family. And now he gets to live his dream. I am truly inspired by this. Seeing Carlos get married after all the trauma and pain he's been through dares me to dream. That my past doesn't have to affect my future. That one day I can live all my wildest dreams.
With this ring, you are made holy to me. For I do love you as my soul. You are now my husband.
It's all gonna be okay. TK's gonna be okay. We saved his life, Owen. And now, he gets to have one.
Then, by the power vested in me by the internet, I now pronounce you married. You may kiss your husbands.
So after the vows, they exchange rings. And during this, we get a surprise appearance from TK's late mom, Gwen, who shows up as a ghost talking to Owen. Yes, there was a lot of grief with this wedding. TK doesn't have his mom and Carlos doesn't have his dad there. However, this wedding can still be happy and in a joyous time because Gwen and I'm sure Gabriel were there in spirit, smiling down, proud of their sons for all their accomplishments. I think it would have been even more beautiful to have Gabriel there as a ghost, but even just with Gwen, it created this very memorable scene. a scene that I absolutely adored.
May I join you?
Thank you, mijo. But shouldn't you be out there with all your friends?
No. Exactly where I want to be. Are you holding up?
I'm good. You?
Honestly, I think this is the best night of my life.
That makes me so happy to hear, mijo.
At the reception, Carlos checks in with his mom instead of dancing with all his friends. I thought this was a very, very beautiful moment because not only did Carlos lose his dad, but Andrea lost her husband, the love of her life, the person she spent the last few decades with. I think Carlos realizes that he is the man of the family now. Andrea is going to need him just as much as he is going to need her. I'll also point out how Carlos says that this is the best night of his life. I was a little skeptical at making Carlos go through the worst thing a person can go through, along with one of the best things that someone can go through in one episode. But Carlos showed that maybe those two things can coincide and it will be all right, that they can still be happy amidst great loss.
Someone to hold you too close, someone to hurt you too deep, someone to sit in your chair and ruin your sleep and make you aware of being alive, being alive. Someone to need you too much, someone to know you too well.
And at the end, we see TK ask Tommy to sing Gwen's favorite song. First of all, Tommy has an absolute beautiful voice. Second of all, I thought it was very important to have TK's work mom sing his real mom's favorite song, a song called Being Alive. All the while, a montage is playing where we see a little snippet of TK and Carlos's honeymoon. You know, these last 4 seasons have seen a lot of loss, but this wedding is a celebration of being alive, of being able to be present in the messy and beautiful things life has to offer. Truly, this was a beautiful, beautiful way to end season 4. All right, so last week here was my top 5 911 Lone Star episodes. In number 1, we have 3-4 Push. In number 2, we have 4-4 Abandoned. In number 3, we have 4-9 Roadkill. In number 4, we have 212 The Big Heat. And in number 5, we have 3-8 In the Unlikely Event of an Emergency. But after this week's finale, episodes 417 Best of Men and 418 In Sickness and in Health have landed in my number 1 spot in my top 5 list. At first, I wasn't sure if I could put this in number 1 because this episode was so extremely sad. It made it so hard at first for me to find any joy in the wedding. But I think that's because when I first watched it, it felt like I had lost my dad. The second time I watched it, however, I could really enjoy all the parts the episode had to offer. Yes, it wrecked me, it left me heartbroken, but it did also give me hope and joy. And to top it all off, the acting was just spot on. I mean, someone needs to give Raphael an Emmy for his performance in this episode. I also want to touch on my thoughts for the entire season 4. I very much enjoyed this season. The fact that we got to dig deep into a lot of these characters that we haven't yet was awesome. I especially loved to see the character development in Marjan and Carlos. It was truly their season, in my opinion. My biggest critique, however, for season 4 would be that there was almost too many storylines. Some storylines felt rushed and I felt needed explored more. Some storylines went so long that I started to lose interest, and some just felt like pointless fillers. I hope next season that they can find a better balance for these storylines that they choose to cover. So what do I hope to see in season 5? So there's a lot I'd love to see, so I'm just going to touch base on my 2 favorite characters, Carlos and TK specifically. I'd personally like to see where they go with their careers, specifically with Carlos. I mean, there's been talks with him becoming a detective or now a Texas Ranger. Does he decide to move up professionally or not? And what does that look like? With TK, I almost think it might be cool to see him make a trip up to New York with Carlos. I was shocked to learn that Enzo and his younger brother weren't at the wedding. I want to know what's going on with them. I mean, TK seems like one that he would FaceTime his brother at least once a week. And also just to make it up to New York because he couldn't make it to Gwen's funeral. I think it would also be worth going back and looking at that question with children. However, I don't think Carlos is ready for kids yet, and I think they should at least wait till season 6 for Carlos to have kids. I think it would also be worth throwing Carlos into therapy or some sort of grief group. I don't think everything was truly resolved between Carlos and Gabriel, so I think therapy could be vital for helping Carlos move past everything. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review so much. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of the 911 Lone Star Season 4 finale. And I also just want to add that I can express how thankful I am for having all of you tune in every week watching these reviews. I hope you have enjoyed watching them as much as I have enjoyed making them, and I look forward to bringing these reviews back for season 5.